So, Chris, first of all, Prostate United 2024. We are a week into the challenge. How are you finding it?
Tough. Really, really tough. But the good thing is we've got a good staff group that are pushing each other on. We're doing some really good things, whether it's, on the bike, whether it's walking, whether it's running, we're getting through it. And, it's the first time I've ever done it. I ran a marathon for prostate cancer, but I haven't taken this challenge on. But a week in, it's tough, but, there's many reasons why we're all doing it. And, all I'm doing now is counting it down, 3 weeks to go. And, all of a sudden it'll be 2 weeks to go. So, I'm really glad I'm doing it. And, it's great to do it with my fellow staff members here at Wednesday.
What's the hardest part you're finding? Physical, mental, logistical? I mean, it tries all of the above.
It certainly does, yeah. I mean, when you have a day at home, you kind of think, how do I fit this in? But what I've been doing, I've been taking my dog out. So that's been the excuse. At work, I think the physical element is fine. It's just finding the time to do it. Whether you do it before we start training or afterwards. I tend to do it afterwards. Just so I'm into the day and I'm ready to do it. But, it's great that we all look at our sort of individual pages. We look at the team one, and we know we've got Doncaster Rovers in our sights. But, it doesn't matter where you finish. I think it's just the fact that you're highlighting the issue. You're raising money for some brilliant, brilliant research. And you're doing it for a cancer that is, the most prevalent among men.
Certainly is, and obviously, I lost my dad to cancer, so I know I'm at greater risk.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's 1 in 8 anyway. You being black, you're at greater risk as well. These are kind of key messages, aren't they, as part of this month to get out to people?
Absolutely. I think football's a brilliant vehicle to do this because, majority, 70-80% of crowds are men. And even the women that come, they can tell their partner, their husband, their brother, their dad, their so everyone has a role to play in it. I think what it is, it's a captive audience that actually we can highlight exactly what's going on. As you said, 1 in 8 for men. If it runs in the family, you're a bigger risk. 1 in 4 for black men, they don't know why. So again, now I'm over 50, I get myself checked around my birthday every year. That's my present to me as such. And I'm about to have my check in the next few days. So hopefully that'll go through. But, I've had people call me, I've had people message me, and I've just said, just go and get checked. Doesn't take long. You can even go on the website and look at the risk checker and just have a look at, there might be 1 or 2 things there that might just be happening to you or someone you know. And I think that's the important thing, because if you catch it early, that's the big message. If you catch it early, you can get over it. It's when you don't catch it early, and then it can get a grip of you, and then you could be in serious problems. So it's about getting the message out there. It's about making people aware of what can happen. And I've been an ambassador for over 10 years now, and I love putting out the message. I love wearing a shirt, Prostate United. I've got vests, I've got T-shirts, and I wear the badge. I give the badges away. Just because I just want people to be aware of it, because sadly we're losing a man every 45 minutes, and that in football terms it's half a game or 2 a game. I mean, it's too many.
Far too many. How proud are you of kind of the work you've done over the last 10 years? Because am I right in thinking this started while you were at Charlton?
It did, yeah. I'll give him a shout. Gary Haynes, who works for PC UK in London, he used to work at Charlton in the media team, and he left Charlton and went there. And then once he saw all sort of the stats, he thought of me. He called me, and I said, okay, I'll get on board. I was in my 40s, wasn't really at risk, but you're at risk at any age. Everyone says it's over 50, majority it is, but you can catch it younger. Sadly you can. So I just started wearing the badge. And of course, then you started seeing it on TV, on Sky, and I think now it's such a prevalent thing in people's minds in football. But the big thing is, you got to keep hammering home the message. You can't rest on your laurels, because we want research to get to a place where we're saving more men. We're saving men who can stay with their families and their loved ones. And the biggest thing I've done, and I can say it to you, maybe you've read it before, I've saved one man's life.
Keith Smith.
I've saved Keith Smith's life. And I always mention him, and he'll text me. If he sees this, he'll text me and just say, it's 3,000 days now, or whatever it is. And that's the biggest thing I think I've done. It really is. He just saw me on the website. I was training for the marathon. I was manager of Southend. And I said why I was doing it. And he actually said, that's happening to me. He was looking on the website, see if I've signed anyone or got any loans in. But actually I saved his life through him looking at that. And that's the biggest thing. We've kept in contact. We're good friends. We haven't seen each other for a while. But I think that makes it all worthwhile. And I think if anyone out there, with what they're doing with the challenge, with wearing a badge, with telling people about it, they save one person. That's brilliant. And that's the biggest thing I can say.
Absolutely. And I imagine that in particular, on those days where you don't really want to walk or run, whatever else, just gives you and the other staff here, because I know you've managed to cajole quite a lot of people into doing this, just gives you that little burst, doesn't it? That little reminder of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
It certainly does. And Ross, he knows a number of our staff here. So again, there was a kind of symmetry with everything that, I knew Gary, and I've been doing stuff for PC UK for a while. I've got all the T-shirts, I've got all the vests, and now we're putting them to good use. And actually we're coming in the morning, have you done your 5, 10 or 15k? Some guys say they have, others haven't, and that's good because we're just helping each other. The days off, as you said, are the hardest ones, but it's all for a good cause, and we'll get through it.
Who's the best runner at the club?
Ooh, Ryan, I think in the sports science department, he can knock a 10k out in pretty good time. Tomo, he's a cyclist anyway, so even though he's meant to do 10 or 15k, he does like 39k. I mean, he's showing off.
That's just taking the mick, isn't it?
He's just showing off. It's all right. But he's a cyclist. He goes out 3-4 times a week, and that keeps him fit. I mean, he's 60 now, so 61 actually. So that's brilliant on his part. But I don't think really it's about times. I don't think it's about your distance. I just think it's about the message and why we're doing it. And I think that's the biggest thing we can all do in this next month.
What's the gaffer like running? Has he got involved in a bit of it?
No, and I don't blame him. When you're managing and doing this, he does run though. He keeps fit. If you look at him, he's tall. There's nothing of him. But I know he runs on sort of his days off. But no, he hasn't got involved in this one. He keeps looking at me on the bike. He starts smiling, and then he said, if you do 15k, does that mean the next day you can do a little bit less? I said, no, basically you got to hit 5, 10 or 15. And he just looked at me as if to say, what are you doing? But he knows this for a good cause, and he's been involved in the pictures and whatever. And again, for guys like Danny and Sasha and Henrik, maybe it hasn't been as prevalent back in Germany or Denmark, so they're learning about it. And actually it's a really good thing, that we're actually educating these guys, because they can take it away and tell their loved ones about it, and hopefully they can educate other people who might be suffering from one or two of the issues that can lead to prostate cancer.
How much have you enjoyed your time at Sheffield Wednesday so far?
This club, it's I've got to say, it's nearly a year now I've been here, and I mean, what I went through last year and what we went through, I shouldn't say just me, but you are speaking to me as an individual, I wouldn't have changed that for anything. It's a huge achievement. I think sometimes you don't realise how big that was, because one win in 19, you don't come back from that normally. You really don't. So nearly half a season, we won one game and drew a few. I mean, it's ridiculous, but so rewarding at the end of it. I mean, the support blows me away all the time. You know, I should be used to it now, but it does. It really does. You know, we go to Coventry, and it's sold out, and they're singing the whole game. We go to Blackburn, and we sell out the whole end, and most probably could have sold more tickets knowing on Wednesday nights. People have been good to me. I do like the city. People see me around the city because I get the tram a lot. I do get a few odd stares on what you're doing on here, but I get the train. I don't live in Yorkshire, but I think it's a great club. I think it's got so much going for it. I'm not going to go into what's gone on over the years. You know, that's not for me. I can only take the club how I find it. And I think the people in the training ground, in and around the ground, it's so funny. I mean, they taught me such a lot about Yorkshire life, being a Wednesday fan. I think it's great that our supporters are with us. They can see what Danny's trying to do. They can see what we're trying to do. It doesn't always work for us, but the good thing is they always back us. You know, and I know it can go the other way, but I think what's been really sort of striking for me is that the fans will always support us. They'll be disappointed like we are, but equally they know we're trying, we're putting everything into it, and you know, things will be up and down. That's just the nature of the championship. But one thing's for certain, we're always fully prepared, and we do things right, you know, and that comes from Danny, it comes from Sash, Henrik, Tomo, Sal, myself, you know, the support staff. You know, we've got a really good group, and I think that helps me, but it helps each other. You know, it helps us all that we're a group that we like each other, which helps. We've all got slightly different personalities, again, which helps. But one thing is we're together, and I think that's important for us in what we're trying to achieve.
I can see in your face, Chris, just what this club means already, and kind of what you've gone and the people here. In terms of where you're at in your career, what's kind of Wednesday given you? You know, how much in terms of where you're at with the game itself? Are you enjoying everything as much as you ever have?
Yeah, and some. Without going into too much detail, you know, I've been put on record recently. I did a podcast where I said the club saved my life, and you know, it's been a brilliant ride. It's been up and down, more ups than downs. But of course, we've had our downs last year. We've had them this season. But we've always come back. We always look to come back. One thing is we always debrief each other, the players. You know, Danny will always tell them where they went right, where they went wrong. But I enjoy the place. You know, it's quite a unique club. Without going into too much detail, it's quite a unique club in how things are done. But actually, we just get on with it, and we know it's for the supporters. We know it's for them on a Saturday at Hillsborough. We know it's for them when we travel. You know, to go to Bristol on a Wednesday night and then come back and go to Coventry, we get 4 points. Now, our fans going home from Bristol, they get back at 3 in the morning, 2:30, they go to work. You know, it takes them going. I'm not saying we're the only club that does that. Everyone does it. But then to go again, sold out again, you know, it just says to me that this club, we're so close to getting to where every supporter wants us to. It's not easy. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say we should be in the top 6 or, you know, the top 2. It's not easy. You know, and we look at the clubs that we're up against. And, you know, I'm not going to go on about finances because equally the other week we were third from bottom, West Brom were top, and we beat them. That's the championship in a nutshell. So actually it's not always about the finances, it's not always about the quality of play. At times it is, because when the good teams, the good squads, when they click, they're very hard to stop. But equally, we are a team that, you know, feels we've got a chance in every game. You know, regardless of where it is. I think we found out a lot last year, you know, when we played Ipswich away, Southampton away, how tough that was. But to come back from those sort of disappointments. Shows a sort of group mentality of the staff, of the players, and of the supporters. And I don't think that will change. And I just want us to, me personally, I just want us to improve on last year and see where that takes us. And I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to be top 12, top 10, top 6. I'll never do that, because the Championship is quite a unique league. It's a tough league, and it's a league that, we know will ask different questions and give you different problems at all times. I mean, this next month, we've got 7 games. And that, again, will test you in different ways. Recovery, using the squad, which Danny has already shown recently with the Bristol game, West Brom and Coventry, how we use the squad. So everyone will play a part, and we just got to make sure that's balanced in the teams we put out and give ourselves every chance of winning a football match.
What's your kind of role within the group, the coaching group, and particularly in relation to Danny and how you assist him and what he's trying to do?
Well, we've all got different roles. So, I mean, Sasha and Henrik came in with Danny. Sasha, psychologist, but he's a confidant for Danny. He's a young man. Sometimes forget how young he is. He could still be playing. Henrik is mad on tactics, just crazy on them. When someone like myself and Tomo, we obviously get to know the group. We do a lot of the other drills. We've now got a set piece coach and analyst, which takes care of that, which is great. We've got a goalkeeper coach in Sells, got a really good personality and does great with the keepers. But someone like myself and Tomo, we've got to know the boys really well. We can say to Danny what we think about certain things. He's very open, which I think is good. I'm not afraid to tell him, I'm not sure about that, Dan, but sometimes I go, listen, that's what you're feeling, you go with it. I've been there as a manager. Sometimes you say, I've got a feeling for a player, and other staff might say no, and I'll say to him, maybe not, but if you've got a feeling because you've seen in training, you've looked at the data, you've looked at the games, and you've got a feeling for this player, play him, and we'll stick with you, we'll support you, absolutely. And there's other times where we might have changed his mind, and he might think, actually, yeah, that's the way to go. So it's more of a support role for him, support role for the group. I've managed as well at Championship, so that's important. Sometimes I'll say to Dan, this is how we behave, in England. This is sort of the protocol. This is what we do. Just so he knows, because you don't want him to be sort of not prepared. And people saying, well, why is he doing that? So we make sure that's all ticked off. He's a smart guy. He's a smart man. He sees the game in a really, really enlightening way, which, really comes over to the boys and to the staff. And it's a good role for me, because I very much doubt I'm going to manage again. So actually, it's a good role where I can do a bit of coaching. I can do some individual work with players. That's one thing I really like, whether they're young or old. It's about how you approach them, how you mentor them. And, I can also prepare the boys. I now watch the game from upstairs. That's another change. That it's a better view from up there. Everyone thinks the dugout and the technical area is the best area. It's not. Every manager, I'll tell you now, would want to watch the game from upstairs for at least the first half. But the perception in England is you want to see the manager in the dugout. So I go up there now, and then I come down and I just put down maybe 3 or 4 points at half time, and he can use them if he wants, doesn't matter. And then as the second half goes on, then I come down, and I like it. Emotionally, it helps me because I'll get involved in the game quite a bit. People know, I'll run up and down and celebrate. Maybe I shouldn't do that too much now, but
that's not what the game's about.
It is, yeah. But
it's about excitement.
I get in trouble quite a bit. I'm too old for that now. So, yeah, I mean, I still celebrated like mad when Shay Charles scored and Gas. I was down. So, yeah, it's a good role. It really helps me, but more importantly, it helps the group. That's why I'm here, to help others.
How impressive is Danny to do what he's done at 35 years old? I still have to remind myself that he's 5 years younger than me already. With the clubs he's been at, with what he's done already at this club, you know, how have you found him and the journey that he's had so far?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I was still playing at 35. I retired at 40, and he's taken the championship team for over a year now. And you can see where he's been. You can see it, you know, in how he approaches the game, meetings, coaching, training. You know, and he's learning all the time, but he's bright. You know, you can see that. You know, he's been an analyst as well before he was a coach, and being an analyst at Bayern Munich and Germany, you know, you've got to be at a good level, because you get found out pretty quickly if you're not. You know, I can say that from my experiences with the national team. So, you know, he's come in his first role. He's been very, very astute with a lot of things. You know, he's very clear. And the good thing is, you know, he's not afraid to actually ask us as well. And I've always said to him, listen to us, and then it's up to you. It's up to you, because your name's on the door, not ours. You know, you're the manager, you're the leader of this team. We're here to support you in everything that you do. And, you know, we'll back you, and we'll make sure, you know, we do our things right. And if we don't, he tells us, by the way. You know, I've been on the receiving end once or twice, or maybe 3 or 4 times, but and rightly so. And rightly so, because if he sees things that he doesn't like or he thinks can be improved on, tell us. You know, and that's his role, and he's good at it. You know, his English is good. He does ask us a lot about certain words. He does, you know, it's really good. He says, can I say that to the group? I say, yeah, no problem. They'll understand you. Or if there's another word, we'll say, well, half might understand you, half might not. So, you know, you might have to change it. He's great like that. He's very open, and you know, I'm really happy that I've, you know, not only joined the club, but, you know, I've learned a lot from him in the year I've been here.
Your personal journey with this football club's fascinating. From, I know it's been talked about a lot, swinging on the crossbar with Charlton a decade ago. You know it had to be mentioned.
Yeah.
But to think from that to you heel kicking in front of the fans, whether it's at Hillsborough or away from home, it's become a thing now. You know, people are waiting for it. You know, like Danny goes up, does his bit, and then people are waiting for you to. Can you quite believe how you've managed to turn opinion here?
I'm glad you said it. Yeah, I did remember when I joined. I was thinking, I don't think anyone will remember the Charlton game, and straight away, maybe the first 2 weeks, not swinging on crossbars now, pal. I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, I won't do that. Please forgive me. It was in the moment, and obviously I stopped a Sheffield derby, so I think that was a big thing as well. Yeah, I think fans have seen that I like to get involved. I like the fans. I like to get involved with them. You know, I'm still a football supporter myself. I went and watched Spurs the other week at Coventry in the away end, because I don't live too far from there. So I understand the football fan. I really do. Watched lots of games over the years before I was a full-time player, and even when I was a player, I'll go and watch games. So I understand the fan a lot of the time. I'll give them time, spend their money. It's the highlight of the week. Give them time. You know, we always say to our players, be humble, give them time. They don't turn up, you've got no one in the stands. So actually, a club like ours, they turn up in numbers. So if we can give them time, we give them to them. And I think that's what's just happened. I think the fans have seen that I've bought into the club. And even the heel kicking.
Where did that start?
Right, so I wasn't sure, but I'm looking back now. I think it started at Stoke when Anthony Masaba scored last minute. I think Dawes saved the pen. We hadn't won away. Fans were all in the corner. We score a last minute goal. And the tunnels, that end, and we were walking up and everyone was going crazy, of course. And I just jumped up and did it. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And went in. And then it was Bambo. Bambo Diaby said to me on a Monday, I think he saw it online or on Twitter or something, and he said, "Oh, you was kicking." I said, "Was I?" He showed me, and I said, "Oh yeah, right, yeah." So then a few fans said, "Oh, can you do it?" I said, "I'll do it when we win a game." And luckily I did it a few times last year. Now, like you say, it's become a bit of a thing. I hadn't done it this year. And a young lad said to me the other week, I think it was before the West Brom game, "Oh, can you do the kicks again?" And I think I forgot against West Brom. And I thought, oh, I need to do it. And I did a commentary, so brilliant. It's great. The fans, you can celebrate with them on the pitch and let them go home happy. I mean, it was a great result, a great way to win a game last minute. And, everyone's happy going into the international break because we know, it's going to be full on from when we return at home to Burnley.
How much would you like to be heel kicking at Bramall Lane in a month's time?
Wow. I mean, that's going to be some game, I must admit. Last year, the minute we beat Sunderland, and then we knew Sheffield were coming down, I was like, that's the game. That's the game I want to experience. Home and away, especially at home, but away. I think we'll have the whole end, top and bottom, hopefully, because I'm sure we give them the whole end, top and bottom, when they come to Hillsborough. So yeah, it's going to be some game. I mean, to be fair to them, they're going well. They've got some good players. They've added some good players. They've lost one or two, but no, they're going well. Unbeaten so far. It's going to be a real test. And it's going to be a test of our mentality and stamina, because that's the game at sort of the end of 7 games in the upcoming weeks. So, yeah, big game for us. Big game for them, because you never know what happens in sort of local derbies. Everyone knows form goes out the window. It's about, who keeps their head, who can just make the right decisions under pressure, because it is a pressure game, no doubt. And can you just manage the game in the right way? We know how normally the first 10-15 minutes are going to be quite lively. It's going to need a strong referee. It's going to need a strong team. And, our preparation has to be good. And we're going to have to go there and be brave. No doubt. It's a game where you have to be brave, with and without the ball.
Have people, supporters, staff at the club kind of been telling you about Derby week and the build-up and everything else? Because there's the game. It's already started on our phone-ins. There's been shots fired from either side of the city all the way from the start of the season. Are you looking forward to kind of experiencing not just the game, but everything about it as the kind of city comes alive with it?
Yeah, I've been through it a few times as a player, a few times as a manager, and it is different. You try to make it out as if it's not, but it is. Because obviously local rivalry, family and friends rivalry, players, number of our players will know theirs, vice versa. And it's a big thing, because you've got to walk around town. You've got to sit on trams. And if I'm sitting on a tram and I've met a few United fans on a tram, and Wednesdayites, of course, but yeah, it's going to be some game. And I really hope that, we can prepare correctly, have the right players out, have our strongest team, and perform. And I think if we do that, we give ourselves a really good chance.